Now shifting gears a bit, there's another major storyline developing that could have a real impact on what the Bears end up doing at number 10, and it revolves around the Las Vegas Raiders and their offensive line situation. Right now, left tackle Colton Miller is not participating in voluntary offseason workouts, and while that might not seem like a huge deal on the surface, he is a veteran after all. There's more going on beneath the surface. Reports have emerged suggesting that Miller is seeking a contract extension, and the Raiders haven't engaged in any meaningful negotiations. That's important. He's been a starter for 7 years, but he's only set to make $12 million this year, while the top tackles in the league are earning double that. So if the Raiders are hesitant to commit long-term, that opens up a very real possibility that they could be eyeing offensive tackle as a high priority in the first round. Now let's bring this back to Ashton Jany, the dynamic running back that Bears fans have been drooling over. For weeks now, the assumption has been that Jany would go to the Raiders at pick number 6. It almost felt like a lock. But if Vegas suddenly decides that protecting their quarterback is more important than adding another offensive weapon, then a top tackle like Will Campbell or Armin Mims could be their guy. And if that happens, the entire first-round dynamic shifts dramatically, especially for the Bears sitting at 10. If Jany gets past the Raiders, there's a very real chance he falls into Chicago's lap. Why? Because the teams picking immediately after Las Vegas don't exactly scream, "We're going running back." The Jets have been floated as a possible suitor, but that only makes sense if they're serious about trading Breece Hall, which seems like a long shot. Then you've got Carolina, who just extended Chuba Hubbard and used a second-round pick on Jonathan Brooks last year. They're not touching Jany. And after that comes New Orleans, a team more likely to go after a quarterback or a defensive lineman than a running back. So if you're a Bears fan hoping for Jany, this Colton Miller situation is something you absolutely want to keep an eye on. Because if Vegas doesn't take him at 6, the odds of him falling to 10 shoot way up. Obviously, there are still a few wild cards in play. A team could trade up into the top 9 and snag him before Chicago gets a chance. A team like Dallas, for example, sitting at 12 and desperate for backfield help, could easily pull the trigger on a trade with Carolina or even the Jets. But barring any trades, the path to Jany in a Bears uniform is looking more possible than it did just a few days ago. And this is where things get really fun because you start looking at what Jany could bring to this Bears offense, and the fit just feels right. He's versatile, explosive, catches the ball well out of the backfield, and has the kind of toughness and motor that Chicago fans love. He carried a monster workload last season at Boise State. We're talking nearly 400 touches, and he still looked fresh at the end of the year. That's rare. Pairing him with someone like DeAndre Swift could be the perfect recipe. Swift can take some of the load off early in the season, while Jany gets acclimated to the speed of the pro game. Then, as the season wears on and the weather gets cold, you turn up the volume and let Jany eat. That's a scary thought for opposing defenses. But the biggest key here isn't just what Jany can do. It's what kind of flexibility he gives Ben Johnson in the play-calling department. We've seen Johnson cook up some creative schemes back in Detroit, and giving him a Swiss Army knife like Jany could take this offense to another level. Screens, wheel routes, two-back sets, motion plays, the possibilities are endless. And you just know Johnson would have half a dozen gadget plays ready to go the moment Jany walks in the building. So while everyone's been locked in on the assumption that the Raiders are going to snatch him up at 6, we're seeing real signs that this might not be a done deal. And that opens the door for Chicago to land a player that might not only be the best available at 10, but also a cornerstone for the next 5 to 7 years. The irony in all of this is that we saw something very similar happen last year. Footage came out showing that Bears general manager Ryan Poles had seriously considered trading up to grab wide receiver Rome Odunze, and then he ended up falling right into their lap. That patience paid off in a big way. We could see the same thing happen with Jany. Poles might be tempted to move up again, depending on how much he loves the guy. But if he stays calm, trusts his board, and the chips fall right, Jany might just be there at 10. The key is discipline. The worst thing you can do is panic and overpay to jump up a few spots for a guy who might have come to you anyway. It's all about how the board unfolds and what intel they have in real time. Now, to be fair, there's always a risk. A team could make a surprise move. Some GM could fall in love with Jany's tape and decide to leapfrog Chicago to get him. It happens every year. But if no one pulls the trigger early and Vegas decides to go tackle, the Bears could walk away with one of the most complete offensive weapons in the draft. And while Jany is probably the dream scenario, the Bears do have backup options. If he's off the board, they're not just going to take a random player to fill the spot. That's not how Poles operates. They'll be looking at guys like Colston Loveland, as we talked about earlier. Maybe a high-ceiling tackle if one of the big names is still available. Or even a versatile defender if one jumps out on their board. The important thing is that they don't reach. Stay disciplined. Follow the plan. That's how you build a sustainable contender. Another interesting wrinkle to all of this is the possibility of a trade between the Bears and Raiders themselves. If Chicago really wants to ensure they get their guy, they might explore packaging pick 10 and something like number 72 to move up to 6 and take control of the situation. That would obviously depend on how the board is shaping up, what kind of buzz is circulating in draft war rooms, and whether Poles feels like someone else is about to make a move. It's risky, but not out of the realm of possibility. All this to say, we are now entering the most unpredictable, most exciting stretch of draft season. Teams are setting up smokescreens. GMs are bluffing through the media. Agents are leaking rumors to create leverage, and the fans are hanging on every word. But inside that Bears front office, the mission is clear. Come out of this draft with players who can help this team win, not just in 2025, but for the long haul. Whether that's Ashton, Jany, Colston Loveland, a left tackle, or even a surprise name no one is talking about yet. The decisions they make at number 10 is going to set the tone for the next phase of the rebuild. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are turning into roars in the Windy City, and the name at the center of it all is DeAndre Swift. Just months after signing a 3-year, $24 million deal with the Chicago Bears, speculation is heating up that the Pro Bowl running back could be headed out the door. The very idea seems unthinkable until you dig a little deeper. What began as a few hushed mentions among insiders has grown into full-blown buzz across social media and league circles. What's going on behind the scenes? Swift's 2024 campaign was far from disastrous. After a slow start, he bounced back with a monster Week 4 performance against the Rams, showcasing exactly why the Bears invested in him. He wrapped the season just shy of 1,000 rushing yards, added nearly 400 more through the air, and found the end zone 6 times on the ground. For a team still trying to solidify its offensive identity, Swift was seen as a cornerstone. So why the sudden noise about his future? According to multiple sources, there are tensions bubbling beneath the surface. Some point to philosophical differences between Swift and the offensive coaching staff. Others cite concerns over durability and long-term scheme fit, with rumors swirling that the Bears could be eyeing a back with a more physical, north-south style in this year's draft. Whether it's smoke or fire, the chatter is getting louder, and fans are demanding answers. Front office silence has only fueled the fire. As of now, the Bears have not publicly addressed the speculation, but insiders note the team's unusual level of activity in pre-draft meetings with several high-profile running back prospects. One name mentioned more than once, Texas standout Jonathan Brooks. If Chicago is truly kicking the tires on another lead back, it's hard not to wonder what that means for Swift's future. For now, DeAndre Swift remains a Bear, but the story is far from over. Whether this is strategic misdirection, early-stage trade prep, or just off-season noise, something's clearly brewing in Chicago. And if recent history tells us anything, where there's buzz this strong, there's usually more to come. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.